Right, hello, my name is Fiona Dove. I am the owner of First Call Physio and Pilates, and I work in Warwickshire, and I am just about to be interim chair for ACPAT as well. So I'm here to talk to you today about my use of Equigate and also some useful hints and tips for new graduates. So thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, thank you, Fiona. So you are an ACPAT physio, so you treat horses and people.
Yes.
Dogs?
A few dogs as well.
And a few dogs as well. So where did you train?
So I trained University of Coventry for my undergraduate degree, so qualified as a human physio in 2005, and then I was lucky enough to be on the RVC cohort, so I qualified in 2010 from that mode of transport, education. Yeah, so that was great because we worked alongside the vets in both the Equine Referral Hospital and also the Canine Referral Hospital as well. So it was amazing.
Okay, great. And have you always run your own business?
Yeah, so when I first qualified, I worked for an ACPAT colleague in Wales, so I did about 6 months where I worked there, and then I came back and ran my own business alongside having had children in the early, my eldest was born in 2012, so yeah.
So every year we see more and more physios graduating to work with animals, and it is becoming, more difficult. We see every week another practitioner posting on some of the social media, a bit despondent with, struggling to grow a business and to become established. Yeah. What advice would you have for anyone starting out?
Well, firstly, they're not alone. As in just if you've had an established business, it doesn't mean that you're not susceptible to market changes. So I would say my kind of business, veterinary physio business, took probably about 4 or 5 years to grow to a level where I was comfortable, and then of course that took us to say 15, 16, and I had a really nice period of time where my business growth was kind of exponential, but then after that COVID hit, and again we suffered those kind of changing and financially, so you're not alone. It's not happening to everybody. I always think the other opportunity is making sure you're using your patch appropriately, networking with other people in your local areas, talking to vets, but most importantly making sure you're making use of every contact. So having a chat, promoting your business to somebody in the street might lead to a contact, or if a client gets in touch with you and it's a little bit outside of your normal area that you might go, do consider it. So when I was very early on in my career, I had a lady call me, and she was about 40 minutes away, and I got young children, and I thought, I don't really want to go over there. It's quite some sort of challenge, and really economically it wasn't worth it for that one client. But she ended up going on to become a riding instructor, and she promoted me word of mouth so much that area became like a real regular for me. So utilising every contact and making sure that you never, in those early stages, you don't miss a potential lead, because you never know where that might take you or your business.
My toxic trait is that I'm convinced that everywhere is either only 10 minutes or 30 minutes away. there's no over or under. But I think fairly soon, by the time you've gone from one job to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, like you've covered somewhere essentially an hour and a half away from home, but you're only doing half an hour in between each client, so that's quite...
Yeah, you can make it work. I mean, I in the early stages, I did my NHS work on management children, and so I was going out to just 1 or 2 clients in an area. I wasn't really seeing a day's work in those early stages. But I think the other thing is being present on yards as well. So you turn up on a yard and you see 1 or 2 people, and that may lead to another contact again. And certainly once I started getting onto yards a bit more regularly, then again more growth comes from that. So just persevere, be confident. If this is what you want to do, put all your eggs in your basket and just go for it. Make it work.
So running your own business, what were you struggling with before you started using it?
So for me, it was a kind of organisation and the overwhelm associated with people sort of contacting me from different platforms. So I use WhatsApp quite a lot because I can share videos and I can share pictures of the consoles and things like that. Look at muscle symmetry and send it to the client so they're aware. So there was a lot through WhatsApp. My website used to run through email, so there was a lot come through email, and you'd have to sort of churn through your personal emails and it's sort of streamlining all of that as well. And then you get your text messages, your voice notes now, Facebook Messenger. Again, most of your advertising might be done on social media. So you've got all of these platforms where people are kind of, getting your attention. With Equigate, it's all in one area, and I'm able to sort of choose those pockets of time when I can access that. So for example, if I come home, I might have done an NHS clinic and then a couple of horses, and then I want to be present for my kids between 4 and 6, which seems to be when everybody gets in touch with you. I don't want to be distracted, I want to be present at home. So then I can say, okay, well, while they're eating their tea, having some telly time or whatever, I can access that one platform and get back to everybody, and it's really effective. I'm really utilising my time in a really effective way. I'm focusing on that thing, and then I close the app down, and there's no more sort of invasion of my kind of personal time. And then, I mean, in the past I've had 2 phones, but then that is ridiculous. And I always used to remember, turning up for tea somewhere and like putting 2 phones down on my table, and everybody's looking at me like I'm a weirdo. That didn't work for me either, having the one. And also, I like to be able to get back to people if I can, as in whenever I can. I want to be present for my clients as much as I want to be present for my kids. So that really helps me be engaged in that.
Can you describe some of the positive changes you've noticed in your practice, your business and your personal life since using Equigate?
Yeah, so definitely streamlining everybody into one area. The other thing I quite like is that, so I paper invoice people, so I had an invoice pad as it were in paper invoice, and that was great. But equally having the ability for all my invoices, paid or unpaid, I can very quickly just check who has paid. I don't have to go onto my kind of bank because I've registered when they're there, and I've marked them, so I can then spend much less time chasing invoices and things like that. I mean, generally, touch wood, my clients are pretty good at paying, but that is a big problem nowadays as well. Having clients paying on time, and they're keeping hold of that. It's extra work, isn't it? So definitely allowing me to be more present in blocks, so present for my business, present for my family work, and equally for me, the ability to be able to kind of send reports very quickly. There's no extra work really for that report writing. I can just kind of generate which tabs I want to send a report either to the client or to the vet. So that definitely helps, that professionalism. And also the clients like it, so the clients like that I'm kind of moving into the next generation and keeping up with technology as well. So the kind of professional profile that I'm putting out, that's massively improved as well.
I was going to say, what has the feedback been like?
Yeah, good. So the clients enjoy using the app, they enjoy messaging me through that. That's, it's easy for them because they know, again, they're normal people at the end of the day, and they understand that I'm running a business and a family. They're always pretty engaged in my family life as well. So they want to hear that I can be a good businesswoman and a good mother as well. So, putting that through there enables them to not feel like they're ever bothering me, because I can say, oh, you can message me anytime and I can pick it up when I need. They like the fact that it's sort of digital, they're on board with that, and it definitely helps that ease of kind of communication and like I say, that professional sort of platform that I'm looking to promote.
Has Equigate helped your business to grow?
So I had a business coach some time ago, and she said, oh right, you need to get back in touch with some of your clients that maybe you're not seeing anymore and you're not doing this. And Equigate really offered me this real easy access to be able to message people, kind of copy and paste the bulk of a message, but message people in really a nice way to say, oh, I've treated your horse before, would you like to do this, would you like to come back to me? So that ease of it, rather than having to look through a chunk of paper notes and working out when I'd seen them. In addition to that, I think advertising that I'm, got a new platform, that's got some new people involved as well. So that digital transformation has enabled me to gain a few more clients on top of that as well. And being able to have more time and space to put into business management plans and growth enables me, so where I'd normally be scratching around doing my notes or doing the admin, I've probably got X amount of time now that I can invest in new avenues. And one of the sort of we were speaking about earlier yesterday is that actually you guys enable me to come up with an idea, and you're working with me about how you can help me individually. Yes, you are a kind of a platform for many people, but you guys, your real speciality in this industry is that you'll help us navigate our own individual business. You're interested in us as individual users, and hopefully along the way it improves the whole platform as well. So that's the thing, and that ability to be able to make everything a bit more streamlined means that I've got more capacity and less overwhelm, and then I can drive that business. I've had a couple of ideas for a long period of time, like I've done lots of women's health stuff, so I'm really interested in horse rider, postnatal, getting back to activity, so making sure when your horses have the time off and you've had the time off, and you've just had a new baby, and with the Pilates stuff and the women's health that I do, I've got this whole package to be able to grow, and this is a whole new market for me to be able to access, but I've never had the time or space because I'm chasing my tail with the admin, and not chasing my tail has really put me in a place where I'm like, do you know what, this last year I really feel like I can push that. So that's
great. I think that's a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
And it's lacking in our industry.
It's like there's hardly anybody out there that's doing it, and I've worked in kind of postnatal care as an NHS physio. I've also done lots of stuff with breast cancer as well. Getting people back to riding after cancer would be a big area that I think is really important. There's not a lot of focus on getting people back to a good level post injury. Everybody does, but actually post children and post like big life events like cancer treatment, when there's a few other bigger things like fatigue, like emotions involved, there's a place here for that industry, and I've got the capacity to be able to look into that now.
Yeah. I think
I've never had before.
Certainly becoming a mum and running a small business and being the business, it certainly gave me a bit of a new perspective of like, you have a whole human to keep alive now, as well as everything that you've worked for up to this point. And being able to support mums, like some of our users, they're mums already, they've become new mums. To be able to think that, people are able to spend time being wonderful at what they've trained to do, but also then to be able to really engage and be present as a mum in the evening as well, to try and facilitate the feeling that you're not having to forego one at the expense of the other. Do you know what I mean?
Indeed.
But then for you to be indirectly, if we've given you the brain space to be able to create something that's furthermore supporting women, I think that's just brilliant.
And I'm really passionate about that, like women in industry and professional roles. Like I think, and particularly during the women's health stuff, you see this ceiling of women. Like in medicine, you don't see many. You see lots of geriatricians or lots of GPs, but you really don't see many orthopedic surgeons as females. And I think that's because the pace is so high to keep up, the pace of running a household or whatever. And my husband and I qualified at the same time to be physios, and I watched his career expand as I, yes, I've kind of progressed, but not necessarily at the same rate as him. So I'm really passionate about supporting women in industry, and I think physio's a really female-dominated industry. But if you look at the positions NHS-wise in the high positions in the consultant physio roles, a lot of them are males because they've got the ability to work full-time, they've got the ability to put themselves into that. So supporting women in their hobbies, in their life, like you supporting women, men as well, in a small business is a real like a big passion of mine to try and get our work out there, because there's lots of it. There's lots of really good things that women are doing, but sometimes I think we don't quite get recognised for what we're doing or what's going on.
What features are you finding the most helpful?
So the direct messaging, the fact that everything comes through the app, the note writing and to be able to flex that. So one of your updates was that you could then manipulate your note layout to being how you want it, because of course I'm a dinosaur in the tooth. I'm 20 years qualified as a physio. I do things how I do them. I don't think I do them then all of a sudden to work slightly differently. So the ability to have the notes how I want them, and that flexibility for everybody, because how I work isn't how somebody else works. So that's great, because I had that adaptability to get my notes down in the way I wanted to make me feel safe, protected, and legally, up to my professional standards. And then the ability to check, who's kind of, when I've ticked somebody off as paid, to very quickly go into the app and say, right, that's unpaid. I'll check to see if that's been paid on my bank, and I can have my phone up and the internet banking up, and it's done in seconds rather than be through my paper stuff. That actually, because it was carbon copied, it used to disappear. So you'd be like, oh, how much was that? So it is much more objective, much more clear, and much more streamlined.
Do you have any advice for anyone thinking about moving over to Equigate?
So give it a go. I wasn't sure to start with. I mean, we had lots of conversations about the legalities, because you don't write a signature. I was like, ooh, what happens here? And so we had lots of talks. So talk to you guys. I think any questions that I had, you happily answered. If you hadn't got the answer for that, you found the answer and came back to me in a really prompt time frame. So have that communication. If you've got worries, talk to you guys. Give it a go. Worst case scenario, you access your information afterwards, and you're no worse off after the free trial. I mean, you mentioned yesterday that the free trial just ends, and I remember my free trial abruptly ending, and oh God, I need to. I hope my notes are there. And then obviously that's great for somebody who's a bit overwhelmed in those early stages, because you don't want to sign up to something and then think, gosh, now I'm on an annual package. It didn't work for me, so you've lost nothing if you give it a go. And I would also think, in sort of hindsight, looking back, make 3 kind of goals of what you want to see Equigate change for you. Your 3 things that you're struggling with, and within a couple of weeks you'll be able to determine whether it's working for you or not. And I suspect it will. It's massively changed my life, and the ability to get on top of things. So give it a go. Any questions, get in touch with you. Go for it.
So have you got any goals for the rest of the year?
Well, interestingly, lose a bit of weight was definitely one when I stood on the scales the other day. The business goals, business goals were going off track a bit. But again, I can now exercise because I've got a bit more time in the morning. I'm not at that point where I'm overwhelmed. So yes, put in a bit of effort into exercise because I've not got that sort of overwhelm. So that business-wise, I need to launch this postnatal return to riding stuff because I do have all of the pieces in the jigsaw puzzle to enable people to really thrive after riding. And what else? Just enjoy my horse a bit more. Yes, definitely. Get out and about. Yeah, my son takes up a big chunk of our summer, so his competition season used to be April till say July, and now it's really April till, well, it's probably March till October. We finished a couple of weeks ago, and my poor horse ended up coming with us to a competition and being corralled like a games pony. This 15-year-old horse thinking, what the hell's going on here? And so getting a bit of time with him. He's 8 and needs to get out, so that's what we need to do. Yeah.
Working, no.
Well, this is the whole
work to live, not live to work.
And the whole reason I went into veterinary physio and physio as well, and then as a side effect, just loved being a physio. It fills all my boxes, and the fact that it's so diverse is because I was having such problems with my lame horse as a 16, 17-year-old. I competed in all over the country. I went all over the world with the vaulting, you know, and I would notice these things, and I was like, I need to make these horses' lives better. So, you know, I've gone into all of this to make the horse's life better, and then the horse I currently have sits in the field a lot of the time, so I need to rectify that, but hopefully Equigate has helped me do that this year.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me. Ta-da!
Finished?
Yes! Done.